Ah, mayhem of the seas. Great name for a cruise ship. Problems that occur on cruise ships. Well, there's lots of them. Cruise ships offer a unique vacation experience combining travel, entertainment, relaxation. However, like any complex operation involving thousands of people in a confined environment, various problems can arise. Here are some of the most common issues encountered on cruise ships.
If you're thinking of escaping the snow for a cruise someplace warm, you need to know the crimes do happen on those massive luxury vessels. So who investigates those crimes?
And how do you know the ship you're traveling on is safe? 7 Action News investigator Heather Cataldo has more on what our investigation uncovered.
When you're planning a vacation somewhere on land, you can find out from police if it's a safe place to visit. But when it comes to booking a cruise at sea, we discovered it can be much more difficult to find out what's happening on board.
This cruise ship surveillance video shows a passenger grabbing a guy by the neck, throwing him to the ground and punching him as people watched.
The person obviously, suffered injuries as a result.
Another shows 2 women getting into a hair-pulling fight in the onboard casino. And earlier this month, a crew member was arrested after police say he raped a passenger and tried to throw her off the balcony. Janet Powers knows what it's like to be assaulted on board.
There really is no one to help people in this situation.
She says it happened to her while traveling with her 2 children.
A man came and grabbed me by the hair and beat my head against the wall until I became unconscious.
She reported it to the onboard security.
The security guards on the cruise ship are not policemen.
And to police when she docked in Puerto Rico.
By the time we were through having the police explain to me that they had no jurisdiction, they'd already let this man off the ship. So according to all crime statistics for that ship, no crime ever occurred.
It's the FBI who's in charge of investigating most crimes at sea.
I mean, if this had happened at a 7-Eleven, this man would have been arrested. But because it happens at sea, there's no crime.
A recent government report shows concerns about cruise ship crime reporting, questioning whether passengers have the right information before booking their vacations. Under pressure from Congress, 4 of the world's largest cruise companies recently began posting crime stats online for 9 serious offenses.
Let's start with my favorite, health-related issues. Of course, that's of great interest to senior sailors. The norovirus outbreaks. This highly contagious virus causes gastrointestinal distress. I think you know what that means, including vomiting and diarrhea. The close quarters on cruise ships can facilitate rapid spread. Now, other illnesses, well, respiratory infections. I mean, something as simple as a cold, COVID, flu. All these things spread easily among passengers. Also, some people get motion sickness. Many passengers experience seasickness, especially during rough seas. That's even with the stabilization units they have. There also are medical emergencies, with a large number of passengers having medical emergency on board. Medical facilities or even emergency evacuations. If and when this happens to you and your companions, those people who you travel with, you will be removed from the boat at the next port. Your return home will be at your own expense. Safety and security. Well, yes, there's a problem there. Accidents and injuries, slips, trips, falls can occur on decks, stairs, and in cabins, especially during rough seas or during binge drinking. There are fires on board. Although they're rare, fires can break out due to mechanical or electrical malfunctions. Man overboard incidents, passengers falling or jumping overboard, whether accidentally or intentionally, are a serious concern for all on board, as the vessels must stop and return to try and pick up the passenger. Crime. Well, there's theft, assault, and other crimes that can occur on cruise ships, as in any community. Now, when it comes to operation and logistical challenges, there are mechanical problems, engine troubles, propulsion issues, and other mechanical malfunctions that can disrupt itineraries and cause delays. That also causes a lot of annoyance for the passengers. Now, there also can be weather disruptions. Severe weather, such as hurricanes, floods, or storms, can force itinerary changes or cancellations, and passengers don't like that. Some ships can feel overcrowded, especially during peak season. This leads to long lines and limited access to amenities. Sanitation. Maintaining hygiene and sanitation for thousands of people can be a challenge, potentially, and it can lead to the outbreaks of other health concerns. Now, another topic no one wants to talk about is environmental impact. Large cruise ships can have a significant environmental impact due to emissions, waste disposal, and damage to marine ecosystems. Now, there's also disruptive behavior, intoxication, loud behavior, conflicts between passengers. It can disrupt your party's onboard experience. Non-compliance with ship rules can end up badly for passengers. Passengers who violate ship rules, such as smoking in non-designated areas or engaging in unsafe activities, things like that, bad news. Shore excursion problems. You may have heard of this before. Issues can arise during shore excursions, such as delays, accidents, or theft. And if you arrive late back at the boat, they don't wait for you. Now, there are also other potential problems, such as food quality and safety. Ensuring food safety and quality for large numbers of passengers can be quite challenging. As service issues, inconsistent service, long wait times, or unhelpful staff can detract from the cruise experience. Now, when it comes to communication, that can also be a challenge because language barriers can make things difficult, make it difficult to communicate while you're on board, simply because there are a number of people, especially staff, whose first language is probably not yours. It's important to note that while these problems can occur, cruise lines take measures to minimize risk and ensure passenger safety and well-being. They do have medical facilities, security personnel, safety protocols, and procedures to handle various situations. However, passengers should also be aware of these potential issues and take precautions to protect themselves and enjoy a safe and enjoyable cruise experience. In 2016, I wrote, narrated, directed, edited, and did the publicity for my YouTube expose on cruise ships. For me, it was a moderate success. I moved on to other things. In the meantime, the whole world has shared in the witnessing of even more mayhem of the seas. Here are some incidents. Some of these incidents that I report on and information given include sexual assaults on board the Freedom of the Seas. On April 26, 2016, 2 male crew were arrested on the ship and charged with cocaine smuggling into the USA from Saint Martin. Both crew members admitted making multiple deliveries using drug-filled sandals for each delivery. They were each paid $2,500. According to Wikipedia, early in 2020, in the early days of the COVID-19 pandemic, the disease spread to a number of cruise ships, with the nature of such ships, including crowding, semi-enclosed areas, increased exposure to new environments, and, let's face it, limited medical resources. It became a problem. It heightened the risk and made the spread more rapid. How did the cruise industry handle the pandemic of 2021? The British registered Diamond Princess was the first cruise ship to have a major breakout on board. The ship was in quarantine in Yokohama, Japan from the 4th of February 2020 for about a month. Of 3,711 passengers and crew, around 700 people became infected and 9 people died on board. Governments and ports responded by preventing many cruise ships from docking and advising people to avoid traveling on cruise ships. Many cruise lines suspended their operations to mitigate the spread of the pandemic and to avoid the expense of running an almost empty ship. Sexual assault is not that common on board. After his ship docked in the home port of Bayonne, New Jersey, a 25-year-old male crew was arrested by FBI agents on charges of sexually assaulting a female passenger. The man, Karan Seachern from Mauritius, intentionally touched her genitals directly through her clothing and without her permission. The incident occurred on December 23rd, just before Christmas, while the ship was operating on a Bahamas cruise from New York City, which was actually the port of Bayonne, New Jersey. The Royal Caribbean employee worked on the ship as a cabin attendant, who was responsible for restocking staterooms and minibars, etc. In this position, he was provided with a master key, giving him access to all cruise cabins, including the victims. While he was on duty, he entered the woman's cabin while she was asleep, and he touched her genitals. When she awoke, she pushed him off and tried to leave the cabin. He pulled her back, then threatened that if she told anyone, he would burn down the ship. We're going to close with a replay of my 2016 video. If you've already seen it, try it again. I've added new material, and it allows you to see the darker side of cruising on large ships. Now, please subscribe, like, and ring the bell. It costs you nothing, but it means the world to me. Fair winds, my friends. Fair winds.